Application note 0308, arranging your SHIPTide desktop or workspace, and this is Terry West. And in this app note, we're going to talk about just how to rearrange your workspace here to make it maybe more easier for you to work with your different projects. Now, the default layout, starting somewhere around 5.0.206, looks like this. There's a projects area, so that if you have multiple projects open, the various projects would appear here. The layout, resources, properties, WYSIWYG window, all those are for the whatever the current project selected is. So let's do that. Let's open a couple of projects that we have here. Open recent project. Okay, so you'll notice that we have two open projects here. And if I click this one, you'll see in the WYSIWYG window and the pages area, the properties and everything, the layout area, we're focusing on this particular project. If I change and click on this one right here, the workspace, you'll see that I'm now looking at a different project. And I can actually copy and paste between projects. So if I click on the Touch Event Logger project right here, go in and find a frame or a variable or whatever it is over here, this touch event variable, I can copy it. I can go over to this other project named Workspace and I can paste it right in here. And so you can actually open multiple projects, copy whole subtrees from one project to another. Handy for using some of our example projects and pulling in pieces into your project. Now, whatever one you have highlighted, that's the one you're going to be working with over in the area. So watch which project you've got highlighted if you have more than one. If you want to, you can close a project, and I will do a close project workspace. I'll not save that change, and now I've only got one project open. So you can see how I've got multiple project possibilities here. Now I can always drag and drop a lot of the elements on this window and on the desktop workspace and make things bigger and smaller. A lot of times I'll want to shrink that down to get the most of my properties available, or if the tree is really deep, I might have to make this a little bigger or smaller. So I can play with just the basic sizes of the windows. I can actually move them around. Now, I'm going to try and grab the header bar of the pages or the properties area and move it around. It's not going to work. The workspace arrangement is currently locked. If I go workspace and then I select unselect this, you see it's not checked anymore. Now you'll see a couple more icons around here. The X, I can close this down. I wouldn't recommend doing that. If I do that, it vanished on me. And I can go back and select properties and it will come back. So if you lose one, like the properties area, go to View, Properties, and it's back now. I can collapse it. So it's over here on the left-hand side and it'll just fly out dynamically now. Probably not what you want to do on the properties. Now if I grab that and drag it around, you see how the red boxes appear? You'll get used to how those appear, but for instance, if I make it appear like this, and you'll notice the top shows a tab type arrangement, the project properties are now a tab in this window. If I take this project properties by the toolbar and drag it so that the box is on the top half, you'll see how I now have two different panes, one on the top, one on the bottom. If I take it and drag it so that it goes top to bottom, it's a little tricky. You might have to move this around and wiggle it a little bit until you get it where you want. Let's go, for instance, here. Oh, right there. It'll go beside this one. So now we have them side by side. And if I want to flip them, I can do that. You see how it's top to bottom? So it'll take a little fooling around for you to figure out how these work, but they are quite predictable once you figure out how those orange boxes work. And you can rearrange this all you like, and if you lose one, again, you can say View and bring it back. You can even take your output window and on the verification area and make it full screen, and then double click it and it will go back. So again, I double clicked it and then I double clicked it. I can take this window, double click it to make it full screen, and double click it to make it go back. To prevent me doing something silly, I'm going to lock my workspace again. So that's the basics of how to move around and rearrange your workspace. You can even detach things. If you've got double monitors, you can actually detach, let's say, the WYSIWYG area and drag it to your second monitor and work with it on a separate monitor. That may be easier to work with if you have two monitors. So there's lots of ways you can rearrange your desktop. We try to give you one out of the box that works pretty well for most projects.